Hello, and thank you for allowing yourself the time to watch this webcast. Self-Care in Simple Steps, How Professionals Can Be Role Models for the People They Serve while taking care of themselves. My name is Michelle Fournier, and I am the Victim Assistance Specialist at the Jacob Wetterling Resource Center. My goal with this webcast is to get you thinking about how you can make taking care of yourself your number one priority, particularly if you are a person who helps others in any capacity, but especially if you are helping people during times of trauma and stress. The Jacob Wetterling Resource Center was founded following the abduction of Jacob Wetterling in 1989. JWRC originally worked solely to prevent abductions and exploitation of children. However, our message has grown to include healthy relationships, online exploitation, sexting, cyberbullying, and internet safety, sexual abuse prevention, and work with other anti-violence movements such as domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking, because we know that it is all connected. We educate families and communities, and we provide victim assistance with a 24-hour helpline offering support and information. If you ever need support or you would like to schedule a speaker from the Jacob Wetterling Resource Center, please call us at 1-800-325-HOPE. In 2010, JWRC became a program of the National Child Protection Training Center, and in 2013 we became a program of Gundersen Health System, merging to become Gundersen National Child Protection Training Center. As a program of Gundersen National Child Protection Training Center, our mission is to end all forms of child abuse, neglect, and exploitation through training, education, advocacy, prevention, and awareness, providing care and treatment for children, families, and adult survivors. With a training center in Winona, Minnesota, and a soon-to-be-finished training center in Arkansas, with staff in Wisconsin, Florida, and Ohio, we really do envision a world where children can grow up safe, free from abuse, abduction, and exploitation, and we are working diligently every day in order to create that vision. We are grateful for the partnership with Gundersen Health System as a means for achieving the vision. So that being said, why is the Jacob Wetterling Resource Center doing a webcast focused on the self-care of professionals? Well, it's pretty simple in that we need you, and we need you to take care of yourself so you can take care of others. Our mission is dependent upon not only our staff, but others in the field helping us do this work. Investing in you is just as important as investing in the children and families we serve. My own passion for self-care is what fueled me for creating this webcast. I have experienced burnout, vicarious trauma, secondary traumatic stress, compassion fatigue, and all that it encompasses. I have thought about leaving the anti-violence field more times than I can count, but my passion and desire for this work keeps me in it. I have had to figure out a way to integrate working in trauma into my life in a way that can be sustainable. It has oftentimes been a lonely road. I can't even recount how many spaces I've been in with fellow social workers and colleagues in the anti-violence movement and child protection movements, and in any social change movement really, in which I have been surrounded by incredible helpers doing such amazing work and groundbreaking work, no matter what the discipline, and it has been so obvious to me that these great people are putting their clients' needs before their own and not taking care of themselves. They are working when they are sick, they are sleep deprived, they are overusing and abusing substances, including caffeine and nicotine, in addition to other drugs. They are subsiding on sugar and other non-nutrient-rich foods. They are constantly connected, answering emails late at night and on weekends. I can see it in their faces, and I can feel it in their energy. What's even worse is that they are leaders of their organizations, or that they are working for leaders that are allowing this poor self-care behavior to occur, setting the tone in the agency that this is what is expected and just part of the job. In my experience, these same people, and all of us who work in the helping field, can all preach to others about self-care with ease, but when it comes to looking in the mirror, we are not necessarily practicing what we preach. It has left me thinking, how effective are we really being when working with others if we are not taking care of ourselves? When we talk to clients about prioritizing self-care in times of crisis and trauma, but we look like we haven't slept, we haven't had anything healthy to eat, and we haven't exercised in days, do they even hear us? Are we creating a barrier to effective service without even realizing or acknowledging it? This has led me to doing some research and reading on the topic of self-care. Not surprisingly, there's a lot of wisdom, literature, and research out there to support professionals whose jobs are helping people through trauma and stress. There are theories and evidence that support not only the individual importance of self-care, but organizational self-care as well. It is no surprise that if a work environment does not encourage or support methods of self-care in its staff, that the agency culture contributes to individual instances of burnout, vicarious trauma, and secondary traumatic stress. But how can we, as agents of social change, already carrying the weight of the world we are trying to change, do anything about an agency culture that does not support our own self-care? Well, we can start by focusing on ourselves and be the change we wish to see. I'm going to start by talking about some of the terms we hear frequently used and sometimes interchangeably when talking about people who work in the helping field. To start, I want to talk about burnout. There's a ton of research out there on burnout. It was first coined in the 1970s by psychologist Herbert Freudenberger. It is so well known and common that it is in the dictionary and part of our everyday conversations. People understand what it means when you tell them, "I am feeling so burned out at work." No matter what the field, people just get it. It means you have too much, you've had too much, you need a break. But unfortunately, a lot of us don't get a sufficient break, despite our occasional vacations and weekends, if we do in fact take a break on our vacations and weekends. There are theories of the stages of burnout. I'm not going to get too much into any of those stages, but a takeaway that can be from knowing that there are stages is that burnout does not happen overnight. If we are in tune with ourselves and self-aware, we can feel burnout happening. Over the course of a career, with the starting of new jobs, with our work with one particular client or family, there are signs and symptoms of burnout. There are symptoms that we can hone in on to better understand how to prevent it from happening. The literature on burnout often points to external causes of burnout, such as large caseloads, the isolation of the work, and other bureaucratic factors. However, research by Masloch and Leitner in 1997 presents a work climate view as the cause of worker burnout. Their definition of burnout includes the dislocation between what people are and what they have to do. Instead of blaming the individual, they state that burnout is a problem of the social environment in which people work. These authors cite 6 specific work environment sources of burnout: work overload, lack of control, insufficient rewards, unfairness, breakdown of community, and value conflict. They present a burnout prevention formula addressing each of these 6 areas and includes a sustainable workload, feelings of choice and control, recognition and reward, a sense of community, fairness, respect, and justice, and meaningful, valued work. Additionally, they offer that the antithesis of burnout is engagement, in which an individual has energy, is involved, and effective in their work. A study by Grosh and Olson in 1995 suggests that to prevent burnout, professionals must learn to distinguish between normal tiredness or tension and the early signs of burnout through an ongoing self-assessment process, including sensitivity to and awareness of feelings of dread about going to work, excessive boredom, feelings of flatness or tiredness, and pessimism about the future. They do acknowledge that distinguishing between burnout and tiredness from other stress can be difficult, especially when we don't have much distinction between our work life and our personal life, which is pretty typical for those of us in social change movements. The constructs of secondary traumatic stress and vicarious trauma often overlap one another in the literature. They have also been referred to as compassion fatigue, secondary victimization, compassion stress, co-victimization, emotional contagion, secondary survivor, secondary wounding, and event countertransference. While there are differences between all of these terms, they typically share a common negative connotation, and as the literature and research details these as negative processes, there is very little written about the more positive transformative processes involved in working with those experiencing trauma. A literature review by Julie Canfield in 2005 found that therapists working in trauma commonly experience secondary traumatic stress as they try to integrate the stories they are hearing into their own internal cognitions and self-experiences. Secondary traumatic stress is the direct result of hearing emotionally shocking material from clients and is different from burnout, which can result from work with any client group. Working with traumatized clients involves listening to their stories of traumatic events and providing a safe place where feelings of helplessness, anger, and fear can be expressed. While most people attempt to limit crises in their lives, trauma workers intentionally put themselves in situations of daily disorganization and disequilibrium. These detrimental consequences, if not recognized and dealt with appropriately, cause work-related issues ranging from job ineffectiveness to job loss, and from minor to major emotional issues. In order to prevent secondary traumatic stress from becoming debilitating, the worker must do the mental work of assimilating the experience into their worldview and integrate the secondary traumatic stress experience. If integration is successful, practitioners effectively assimilate and accommodate the effects of their trauma work. The construct of vicarious trauma encompasses changes in the experiences of self, others, and the world. The empathetic engagement necessary for effective work with trauma survivors leaves practitioners vulnerable to the detrimental effects of vicarious trauma, affecting both the relationship with the client and the dynamics of the workplace negatively. But of course, your worldview will be changed when you work with trauma. That just comes with the territory, right? We're just no longer blissfully ignorant, and we actually know that the worst of the worst happens. Aren't we just more aware? Isn't that a good thing? Well, I think so, and I wouldn't want to change what I do know. But what about the consequences of vicarious trauma in our personal lives? Most of us enter the field because of our passion for helping and wanting to make a difference, but rarely do we fully understand the implications of this career choice. Would we still choose to work in trauma if we were warned about the vicarious trauma? Julie Canfield's literature review points to the need for adaptive coping strategies that reduce the negative effects trauma has on those that work in the field. This is especially important since the negative effects of secondary traumatic stress and vicarious trauma reduce the overall effectiveness of the work practitioners are doing. Canfield's review suggests that when appropriate prevention strategies are in place, the negative cognitive changes associated with vicarious trauma and secondary traumatic stress occur less frequently. A book I have only recently discovered that I would highly suggest that all of us who work in trauma read is Trauma Stewardship, an everyday guide to caring for self while caring for others by Laura van der Noot Lipsky with Connie Burke. In the intro of the book, she comes to the realization that her work has gotten to her, and that she leaves you with the question of, how do you know when your work helping others in trauma has gotten to you? It made me think of how many times I have heard, well, I haven't thought about that before, in response to my pointing out what is just so obvious to me, but apparently not so obvious to others about the dangers involved in basically any situation. A friend of mine teases me about how I can turn any situation into a horrid fact or a tale of victimization, what I would term real talk. But let's face it, exposure to others' trauma does change our worldview. The term the author of Trauma Stewardship uses to describe this inevitable consequence is trauma exposure response, or being affected by the suffering of others and our planet. She coins the term trauma stewardship as the daily practice through which individuals, organizations, and societies tend to the hardship, pain, or trauma experienced by humans, other living beings, or our planet itself. By developing this deep sense of awareness needed to care for ourselves, while caring for others and the world around us, we can greatly enhance our potential to work for change, ethically and with integrity, for generations to come. One of the many things I appreciate about the Trauma Stewardship book is that she does not put it all on the workers to deal with the effects of the exposure to trauma, but rather she emphasizes that our ability to function as effective trauma stewards is directly tied to the organizations we work for, in addition to larger societal attitudes and systems. She states that every larger system has an obligation to the people who make it work, as well as the people it serves. Each of us does have a role in shaping the organizations and social systems in which we work. The ripple effect of trauma expands way beyond those who experience it firsthand. The benefits of trauma stewardship include organizations and institutions responding to trauma exposure in a way that allows them to realize their mission and goals, rather than actually increasing the stress of their workers and ultimately the clients being served. Part of trauma stewardship is about recognizing the flaws in our organizations, institutions, and social systems, and how this affects the way we do our jobs. However, if we are going to be agents of social change, We need to bring it back to us as individuals. Again, we must be the change we wish to see. As is stated in the book, the clear path to trauma stewardship is to conduct our own lives with ethics and integrity, day after day, in all situations. It is my hope that I can plant some seeds for you for ways in which you can achieve a path to trauma stewardship. I want you to be able to be the best possible you, acknowledging that we are all in different places. There may be some of you out there that are so burnt out and suffering in an immense amount that you can't even think about getting to a place where you could even entertain some of the suggestions I will offer in this webcast. Maybe you are so busy that you have no idea where you will find the time for even 10 minutes of self-care each day. However, I'm going to challenge you to remember that we have the ability to create our own reality. If you believe you are too busy, then you will be. If you believe you need to allow the time and prioritize your self-care, then I believe you will. Effective trauma stewardship requires us to question our deeply held beliefs about our work and our lives. We need to raise our consciousness, get out of autopilot, and be intentional. No matter how stressful and how difficult our day-to-day experiences are, we need to be mindful. There is no right way to do this, and what I am saying is different for everyone. We need to remember to have compassion for ourselves, as well as for our coworkers, our bosses, and the clients we serve. It is not selfish to focus on you. It is necessary. With that being said, I want to share a poem with you, The Journey by Mary Oliver. One day you finally knew what you had to do, and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble, and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough, and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones, but little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. Mary Oliver's poem, The Journey, reminds us that we are all on our own individual paths through life. We must all journey to find our voice, withstanding the pressures of society to conform and trusting our heart. There are always going to be people asking for help and in need of care. It's up to each of us to take care of ourselves first, listening to our own voice and following our heart. And although the road is full of fallen branches and stones, we need to move forward little by little, one step at a time. And as you do, feel encouraged by hearing your own voice, speaking from your heart, recognizing that it is always there protecting us. It is a poem that reminds us that our journey in the helping profession is guided by our heart and our voice, which we need to take care of in order to protect ourselves and be able to effectively do our jobs, taking care of others. I have been practicing mindfulness for about 10 years. My practice of mindfulness has been a journey in itself, growing deeper with every challenge I have encountered. By learning to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, I have been able to be more mindful in my daily life. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is a state of active, open attention on the present. When you're mindful, you observe your thoughts and feelings from a distance, without judging them good or bad. Instead of letting your life pass you by, mindfulness means living in the moment and awakening to experience, every experience. By tuning into and being aware of how my body responds to stress, I've been able to pull myself away from the stress, take a deep breath, and ground myself. I reassure myself that I can handle this, and I remind myself to do my best, knowing that if I bring my full self to the moment, that I will be able to face challenging situations. I oftentimes think to myself of the Robert Frost quote, "The only way out is through." I have learned that avoidance doesn't work, and it doesn't sit well with me. I would rather face the challenge and the accompanying discomfort than carry the guilt and fear that comes with avoidance. Of course, everyone's timeline is different. What works for me may not work for you, but I would encourage you to find out what does work for you. If it is offered in your community, find a mindfulness-based stress reduction course developed by Jon Kabat-Zinn. Or find a meditation center or community to connect with, ideally in person, but if you don't have anything of the sort in your community, find a community online. Next, I would like to offer you a mini meditation called the 3-minute breathing space. The 3-minute breathing space was created in order to deal with times when you are feeling overwhelmed or increasingly burned out. It can help you if you are feeling angry, anxious, or stressed, and it can put you back in control of your life when it starts to seem like things are out of control. It is a practical and effective tool to manage stress, feel more centered, and be more in control of our responses. The breathing space offers a spacious, non-judgmental way to reconnect with the present moment and to your experience. It can be practiced anywhere, at any time, and doesn't need to be 3 minutes. It could be 30 seconds or 5 minutes. I oftentimes offer myself a quick breathing space when I feel like I'm about to have a heart attack from trying to get too much done all at once. This is a signal to me to just stop and breathe. Use it when you feel you could benefit from feeling more grounded and relaxed. Think of the 3-minute breathing space as a habit to be used as a tool to help you find more space in your thoughts and emotions, and perhaps a greater lightness of being. At this point, I ask that you find a comfortable position in your chair. Put down anything you are holding. Put your feet on the floor and with good posture and a tall spine, rest your hands gently on your lap and feel your body grounded. Roll your shoulders a couple of times and allow yourself to feel relaxed. If you are able and feel comfortable, gently close your eyes. Or if not, just keep a soft half gaze. Let go of judgment and notice how your body feels. Tune into your body's visceral, moment-by-moment sensations. You might notice your heart beating or how your legs feel resting on the chair. If there is tingling in your fingers or toes, feel free to do a quick scan of your body to pick up any sensations of tightness or bracing. Acknowledging the sensations, but not trying to change them in any way. Notice the texture of your fluctuating experience as a quiet observer, without becoming drawn into it or pushing it away, just noticing. Next, become aware of your thoughts in the same way, without judgment. Use a gentle, open attention. Are your thoughts fast or slow? Are any thoughts particularly prevalent in your mind? Are your thoughts tending towards the past or the future? Do not try to change anything. Just hold your observations gently in your awareness. Now, also become aware of your emotions in the same way, without trying to fix or change anything. Just be. Kindly with what is arising. Come gently back to this broad, soft awareness whenever you notice you are becoming entangled with thoughts or worries. Now gently redirect attention to your breath, to your in-breath and your out-breath. Just notice your breathing without altering it, its speed, texture, quality, and where you can feel the breath most alive in the body. Your breath is an anchor to bring you back to the present. Keep coming back to the sensation of the breath whenever you become aware of becoming distracted. Do this with kindness and without judgment. Feel your awareness expanding around your breathing. Become aware of your whole body, your posture, your breath, your facial expression. the space around your body. If you become aware of any sensations of discomfort or tension, feel free to bring your focus of attention right into the intensity by imagining that the breath could move into and around the sensations. Explore the sensations, welcoming them, rather than trying to change them in any way. If they stop pulling for your attention, return to sitting, aware of the whole body, moment by moment, returning to your breath. And when you are ready, please open your eyes and slowly bring your attention back into the room. And as best as you can, carry this expanded awareness into the next moments of your day. Our skillful relationship with caregiving is the balance between one's heart endlessly and accepting Our skillful relationship with caregiving is the balance between opening one's heart endlessly and accepting the limits of what one can do, and the balance between compassion and equanimity. Compassion is the trembling or the quivering of the heart in response to suffering. Equanimity is a spacious stillness that can accept things just as they are in any moment in time. The balance of compassion and equanimity allows us to care and not yet get overwhelmed and unable to cope because of that caring. These phrases in the loving kindness for caregivers reflect the balance between compassion and equanimity. Choose one or two phrases that are personally meaningful to you. These are just a few examples that you can alter in any way, or use others that you have created because of their unique personal significance. A practice for using the loving kindness for caregivers is similar to the breathing space, but as you begin to bring your attention to your breath, begin to silently say your chosen phrases over and over again, in rhythm with the breath, or just settle your attention into the phrases. Feel the meaning of what you are saying, yet without trying to force anything. You can also do this without closing your eyes or even let anyone else know what you are doing. Think of it as an affirmation you can offer yourself. When you think of being healthy, you probably think of eating right and exercising. But there are more dimensions to your wellness than your physical wellness. As a program of Gunderson Health System, we are proud to be able to share with you the Balance Your 7 approach to wellness in order to help you find balance. Balance Your 7 identifies 7 dimensions of wellness: body, community, feelings, mind, relationships, spirit, and work. It is a rich resource of information, ideas, inspiration, and actions to help you take charge of all 7 dimensions of wellness. You can visit balanceyour7.com to learn more. By balancing these 7 key areas of wellness 7 days a week, you can achieve a more balanced life. The Balance Your 7 approach defines wellness as a dynamic process of becoming aware of and making conscious choices towards a more balanced and healthy lifestyle. It includes learning new coping and communication skills that address both the positive and negative aspects of human existence. As you can see, your body and physical wellness are only one component of your overall wellness. What I like about the Balance Your 7 approach is that it encompasses a holistic view of an individual and encourages balance in all 7 areas. As we look at each of the 7 dimensions more in depth, I want to offer you suggestions for ways in which to enrich and nurture each area. Again, you are the best judge of what is right for you. If none of the suggestions really resonate for you, think of other ways in which you can enhance the specific dimensions in a way that works for you and your lifestyle. I will start with your mind, your intellectual wellness. Some ways to enrich your intellectual wellness include being curious, engaging in opportunities for learning, and lively interaction with the world around you, seeking new challenges and learning new skills, encouraging yourself to think critically. Activities may include reading, taking a class or a workshop, listening to music, learning a new hobby, and playing games, doing crossword puzzles, staying up to date on current events, doing arts and crafts projects and other creative ventures. Your body is your physical wellness. There are ways to take care of your body, which include eating nutrient-rich foods, getting regular exercise, whatever that exercise means for you. We can walking, biking, avoid harmful habits and patterns. We all know certain habits and patterns we have that may or may not be good for us. So tuning into what is healthy for you. Activities that promote physical wellness include eating breakfast, and also eating small amounts of nutrient-rich food frequently through your day instead of fasting for long periods of time and then overeating. Try juicing or making smoothies. Incorporate taking vitamins into your daily routine. Simply get up from your desk and stretch once in a while during your workday. Take the stairs instead of the elevator or escalator. Try parking on the far end of a parking lot and walking further to get to the store. Get up and take a walk during your lunch hour, or take a lap around the building when you go to use the bathroom during your workday. Try incorporating essential oils into your life. Take a yoga class. Ask for help if you abuse or overuse addictive substances, or if you engage in any other self-destructive behaviors. Avoid or limit the amount of drinking or eating anything that does not have a nutritional value, such as soda, candy, or baked goods. Get some fresh air. Spend some time outside. One of the best pieces of advice I have ever received from a training on self-care is to spoil yourself with amazing bedding. Spend the extra dollars you have on your sleeping environment. Ideally, a third of your day is spent in your bedroom sleeping. Develop a bedtime routine. Try using lavender and chamomile essential oils. Take a hot shower before bed. And also avoid using sleep aids, but maybe if you do need something, reach for natural supplements like melatonin. Your relationships are your social wellness. Enriching your social wellness involves having reciprocal, healthy, positive relationships with other people. Tune in to the friends that drain you. It is okay to limit your time with people that take from you. As helpers, we need to surround ourselves with people that refuel us. Know who these people are in your life. Use your support system. Communicate your thoughts and feelings. Be assertive. Protect your precious time and energy. Don't be afraid to say no. Make time to have fun with people. Having a pet might be a great way to engage in social wellness if you like animals. Additionally, if you find that most of your social engagement is online or through social media, take the time to intentionally connect with people in person. Feelings, or your emotional wellness. In order to nurture your emotional wellness, learn how to cope with stress in a healthy way. Know your limitations and listen to your body. It is important to understand yourself and be self-aware. It is amazing what we can tune into if we pay attention to our body. Time management is an essential skill needed to support emotional wellness. Prioritize and ask for help. Let yourself do nothing once in a while. It is productive to do nothing, and it has taken me a long time to figure that one out. Make sure to take time to laugh. And especially for those of us who work in trauma, take time away from the screen. If you are off of work, disconnect for a while. Turn off the media. Be unavailable. Intentionally lose your cell phone. Work and your occupational wellness. We have talked a lot already about your occupational wellness, but something I do want to stress is to know what your strengths are. Find a career path that supports and develops your skills and talents. Maintain a work-life balance by setting boundaries with your availability. We all need to be off of work, so set limits with yourself and with your agency about when you can be reached. If your work and personal life blur, try to develop clearer boundaries. For those of us who are really passionate about our work, this is of the utmost importance in order to avoid letting work take over our lives. Use your paid time off. Don't just let it sit there. I am just always shocked to hear when people say they have hundreds of hours of vacation time that they haven't used yet. If this is you, make it your intention to use your vacation time. Community, environmental wellness. Enriching your environmental wellness is an often overlooked part of self-care, but when we are taking care of the environment, we are inadvertently or intentionally taking care of ourselves. Try to maintain and live in a clean and safe living environment if at all possible. Do what you can to make it so if it is not that. For instance, try to get out and access a natural setting if you do live in an urban environment. Get involved in your community. Get to know your neighbors. If possible, walk, bike, or carpool to work. Do your part to conserve energy and water. Know where the products you use or consume come from, and try to limit or avoid exposure to toxic products. Shop locally, buy organically. It is a reality that much of what encompasses environmental wellness is a privilege, but do what you can given your circumstances. Lastly is spirit, your spiritual wellness. In order to nurture your spiritual wellness, move through the world with integrity. Search for meaning and purpose, acting in a way that is in accordance with your values and morals. Explore your individual spirituality, spend time alone, encourage your self-awareness, practice mindfulness, meditation, and yoga. Seek to understand what you don't understand, rather than to dismiss it. Negative energy is depleting and exhaustive. Positive energy is refueling. If you do practice a faith tradition, or if you don't, tapping into your spirituality is essential. In a study by Davis, Lind, and Sorensen in 2013, it was found that spirituality and relationships with coworkers were the primary coping strategies to deal with burnout. Finding meaning in life and in death is key to being able to work in trauma. Nurture your spirit. For more information on the Balance Your 7 approach and articles specific to each of the 7 dimensions, visit the website or Facebook page. I hope that I've been able to plant some seeds and have left you with some questions, not only about how you can better take care of yourself, but how you can be a champion for the self-care of your organization. Self-care discussions need to move from being an individual effort to a community effort, whatever that community is. Please know that you are not alone. In addition to the resources I have mentioned in this webcast, there are numerous others out there. We are all on our own individual journeys. Self-awareness and prioritizing our own self-care is the first step. Please know that you have support. Feel free to contact me with any questions, concerns, or if you'd like to have support with your individual or organizational journey. I want to thank you for taking the time to view this webcast. Although it was just a brief sampling, I want to acknowledge the courage and strength it takes to stop what we're doing and take time for ourselves. If you could please take a few minutes to download and complete the evaluation following this webcast and email it to admin@ncptc-jwrc.org, we would really appreciate your feedback. Thank you, and create yourself a joy-filled day.